All right, all right. Good morning, good morning. Test, test, test. It is 6:30. It is February 6th. It is Tuesday, and I'm trying a new system on StreamYard, a way where I could do my video, do the 6:30 club, and I can go to a few little outlets. I can see some comments, and we can interact. I'm just trying to figure out the way it looks. I see some people coming in spooky. It's a little fun, You can see a hologram of the red dog right now. I'm sitting in my big banya. And I'm kidding. This is just a little green screen, but it's kind of cool. You can do some little backgrounds. We can have fun. I do have a sauna and an ice barrel in my house that I use every day, and gets me set up for the day. I woke up this morning. I looked Europe flattish. I'm like, wow, my China had its first bounce. Wow. Let's see if it could be sustained, considering we've been buying some K-Web calls for the past few weeks from March 15th. Hey, I see a bunch of good mornings. Let me say some good mornings to some of the crew. We got Andrew, we got Jack Schenker. What up, what up? Hey, Dan, how you doing? You like the background? All right. We got Vert. How's it going? Like to be able to say good morning to everybody. Isn't that nice? You wake up in the morning, you have your iced coffee. Oh, I can't even see my iced coffee. Doesn't even come in. There it is. Oh, here we go. Hey, gotta get used to this. I'm like, woo. Hopefully I don't get you guys sick. Anyway, so we'll figure out how this goes. Maybe I'll use this. I'll use this setup, and as long as we can interact, then I could figure out how to navigate it. I'm not sitting here in New York City with a production team. I'm in Short Hills, in the office. I got my light, a little, and gonna try and go over the day a little bit. Right now, it seems as if the market's a little quiet, right? Got actually the SPYs are flattish, NASDAQ futures are up. Again, Europe is muted, and China's finally having its first, broadly, potent bounce. We'll see if that can continue. Alexa off. So let's see if I could share my screen. Let's see if you guys could see. Hey, there's a screen right there. You got the SPYs. Can you guys see the SPYs right there? Can you see yesterday's inside action where we held Friday's move with a low of 489.30? You got 496 right there. Seems like right now the SPYs are down a penny. A little bit of inside action digesting. It's coming through YouTube. That's good. All right, all right. What platform is this? This is StreamYard. So what StreamYard does is it broadcasts me to a bunch of different social media outlets, but I could actually see you guys. I don't know if you guys could see everyone speaking, but I could see you guys, which is kind of cool. So maybe we could share some ideas and do our thing. So, but again, right now, you have the SPYs having another inside day. We're above the 8-day moving average. This was the candle from Fed Day that shook everybody up on Wednesday. Thursday, we took back the 8-day, and now we're figuring out if we could digest, and continue going. You can see the comments. That's cool. If you look at the Qs right now have a nice upper area. If the Qs could hold this 422-ish or 423-ish, go sideways, I would think, we can continue above 429.85. So a little inside action in the indices. Obviously, it's still a very specific tape. You have NVIDIA going nuts, SMCI going nuts. Before they were up more when I woke up, and now they've come in a little bit. We're trying to figure out how we can, stay with this rally and not fight it. I think a lot of people are starting to try and put out there and talk out of both sides of their tush about how they're really bullish, but February we can come in 2 to 5%. That same way as, cautiously optimistic. But nobody wants to get caught in a 2 to 5% pullback, especially if you trade for a living and you get paid. January is over. January is a great month. There's so many things to do. In February, now we got to figure out how to do it all over again. That's what we do as traders. We just continue to move the process along. I don't get paid monthly. I get paid quarterly. Because I like to, have a few more things going, bigger picture, where I'm not as worried coming into the last few days. But again, I am a chief founding partner here at T3 Lab. And my name is Scott Redler. Welcome to the maybe new and improved 630 Club. I'll tell you what's not been working, the IWM. IWM has been a pain. Everyone came in really bullish, to start the year after a big November move. So it made some sense to pull in. And kind of going sideways here. A lot of people pointing to the fact that the AD lines are not good, which they haven't been good the past few sessions. But, you have a very specific action. We want to see if some of the gaps from last week's earnings hold so we can have calculated swing trades. like a Meta, right? Meta hit 485. Here's 453. Closed pretty weak. Meta right now is up a little bit. Kind of digest above 453. Let the moving averages catch up and give us some more upside action. Meta was fantastic. A lot of people made really good money in that earnings play. Then you have Amazon, which also has a big gap up. When you trade actively for a living, the way you could judge whether or not there's still momentum and still upside demand is, does a gap hold, can it digest above it, and then continue? As of right now, there's definitely some talk out there how Amazon, Jeff and McKenzie have to sell a lot of shares. So with that being said, is there enough demand there to absorb it? And how do we judge that? This gap, because if all of a sudden it breaks into this gap, it could just get choppier. And if something gets choppier, as active traders, we really don't need to be in there. Can I buy a roast beef Joe at the Milburn Deli? You can. What about the Godfather? The Godfather is one of the most famous sandwiches in the Milburn Deli. And also at the Standard, they came up with the Red Dog sandwich, which is a great steak sandwich, which I do meet some people who have that with a little bit of an IPA here and there. Just not in January, because there was no beer in January. Hopefully you're able to keep to some New Year's resolutions, where mine was no beer, no chips, and no bread unless it was on a sandwich, and I took myself down to the lower end of my range. SMCI, yeah. NVIDIA this morning was, looks like it had a bit of a reversal. It was up 10, and now it's down 4. I saw some kind of headline come out about China making AI chips, so maybe that's causing a little bit of a reversal. Anyway, so we'll see how that goes. Here's the gap. What's Amazon doing this morning? Amazon is down $1.20 above the gap. So I am in Amazon. I'm going to see if I can add versus that gap. If it starts to come into that gap, I might have to get out of the way, because it means it could take its time. Remember last time when Netflix came out, had a really good quarter, and look how long it took here. It took a long time for it to kind of digest above this 392 before it made a tradable pattern to clear this spot, and now has another gap up. It's hard with a lot of these gap ups because the gaps are so big. Sometimes they either go fast or it takes a lot of time to absorb it. Sell NVIDIA today. I was actually thinking about with NVIDIA, I was going to come in and I was going to sell some options. And at this point, it's a little bit trickier. Now NVIDIA is down 6 at 687. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. This morning was more interesting. This morning it was up 10. I'm like, oh, you know what? I haven't really done a cute short in NVIDIA in a while. Look where the 8 days. Look how extended it is. To me, you obviously can't buy that. But maybe there would be a cute fade. And now at this point, NVIDIA is down 7. So something kind of, came in. I saw a headline come out about China, but we've seen that before. But anyway, it was at 705 earlier. So again, up here was like, hey, maybe it's a fade and maybe it doesn't hold 694. Now we got to see, where it actually, where it pulls into and whether or not the dip is viable. Yesterday, we made some cute money shorting AMD. Chill and I were shorting AMD in the first 30 minutes of the day, and it turned into a decent cash flow trade. But now we'll see what's next. So here is this is yesterday's low. This is what 672. So here's 662. This is the gap from yesterday. It had a big gap up that didn't get filled. Ooh, I like to put these little yellow things in as the gap. So that's 672. Problem when people are like, I'm going to buy a dip, which has been great to buy in NVIDIA. If you're up 4 days in a row and you're up from really when, remember, we were buying this in here. People were yelling at me for being so bullish on NVIDIA, and this was a great trade, obviously. And then it's above the 8 days since. But whenever you get so extended from the 8 day, it gets a little trickier. And anyway, so 672 is a spot. That's the gap right now. It's at 684. I was used to be able to pull in my level 2. It doesn't let me do that. So we'll see what that, what that goes. By the way, I can go like this now. I can go, hey, then you can see Red Dog just like this. And then I can go back to here, and then I can get the chart in there, which is kind of cool. It was at 709. Yeah. So funny is sometimes they take trades away. You go on your way to the office like, oh, wow, day 5 up in the video. I'm going to fade this puppy. And then you show up and it's now down 8. So the whole thought has to change. But that's what happens as a trader. You have to change when the situation changes and know, how active you want to be. So anyway, 672 will be a pretty big level there. AMD yesterday, gave a little bit of a fade. It opened up, and now we got to see, does AMD hold this 171 area, and does it, do a little sideways action here, or was that a small clue that we're going to come in? What's AMD doing? AMD is down 2. It's at 172. So for today, 171 is pretty big for AMD. If that breaks, there's a quadrant below for NVIDIA, which is now only at 686. 672 is pretty big. I have been trading Apple. Okay, remember we were talking yesterday. I said Apple, gave us a little bit of a tradable move. Post earnings, we were buying 180s. I said watch 180. I didn't buy 180. I bought like 182 versus 180, and then it was a nice swing trade this morning. It's up a little bit, not a whole lot. So now, if you want to say what would keep commitment, like I talk sometimes about little different things that I say. So for me, in order for me to be in Apple and stay with Apple, I'd like to see some commitment above yesterday's low and build a new pocket pivot. That's 185.84. So what I usually do is I change these pivots like this. 185.84 is yesterday's low. So if it does a little inside action, that would go a long way to absorb the big travel range post earnings. So going a little sideways in here wouldn't be bad. Eli Lilly has been on fire. I have this thing called power plays where, it's more of a tell me type, product. So I have a bunch of different products. One is the alpha team, where everybody's just talking all day long. Most people trade for a living. Another is Redler All Access, where I'm doing 40 charts. I'm writing a note. It goes out every day at 8:30. And another one is just people who don't really trade for a living. They kind of want to be told what to do. And Eli Lilly was my first power play of 2024. When was it a power play? Well, it started right here. Remember this descending trend line right there, the 587 buy? Holy cow. This was the first thing that worked this year. So it's always good when things start to work again, right? And look at this move. Holy cow. I was telling a story the other day to the Alpha team about my friend. I'll call it, maybe he's watching, Eugene. He had a daughter named Lily, and she is now in 5th grade, and I think she's like 10. So when she was born, he bought 1,000 shares of Lily, just because, hey, Lily born, Lily, boom. And look at this. Paid for her college by buying 1,000 shares of Lily at age, at $45. That's where it was. Look at this chart of Lily. Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. Talk about a trend. And look at that 8-day moving average. I talk about the 8-day moving average all the time. When it's above, you try and be long. When it's below, you try and be short. And this has been in fuego. I actually told him he should sell a little bit. He's like, well, then I got to pay so much taxes. And I'm like, well, wouldn't you rather pay some taxes versus, losing? Or anyway, everyone does what they want to do. Bottom line is, this was a great trade. It ignited right here. Then it gave you more action. But earnings are coming out. So if you're an active trader, you have to be very careful going to earnings. It's definitely priced for perfection. So, well, what's Power Plays? Well, Power Plays is just kind of like a newsletter that people pay for the year, where they just kind of want to be told what to do. When I do my morning note, I have like 40 things on there. Usually it's like, if this, then that, if that, then this. And it's everyone's job to make their decisions on what they want to do. And then the Alpha team gets to watch me do it. For Power Plays, they're just like, Red Dog, I don't want to, help figure out. You just tell me. You just say, buy this, put your stop there, and see where it goes. But I'm not here to sell Power Plays. I'm just saying that this was the first one of the year. And I just put on a new one yesterday, MDB. MDB became a power play yesterday because, you have a nice 6-month base. I bought some options. It tried to go yesterday and it couldn't. Just the market was weaker, and now we'll see in time, kind of take out this 6-month channel. Can this group get better? So to me, this was a nice trade. I was buying it on Friday. I bought some options, which I went over with my little video with Mikey, and it went yesterday and came in, and I think Kramer was talking about it last night, and it's up 8. So it's at 444 pre-market, but so we'll see how that goes. So anyway, this is a nice channel, nice upper channel. This stock to me is very loose and wide. It's not the easiest out there to trade, so that's why, unless it's a perfect setup, I go with options. So we'll see how that goes today. Yeah. So someone said, did I take Palantir into earnings? Because yes, I came in long Palantir, and I said I do not take stock into earnings. I take options because risk is premium paid. So I did come in long yesterday, Palantir, And I did sell it up 50 cents. That was nice. And then I went out and I bought the 17 by $19 calls. So at this point, what's Palantir doing? Palantir is it's a 1944, so that's good. It's up 16%. So it's good. I needed that. We'll see how it goes. I bought the 17s and I sold the what? The 19 they had. I wish I could bring this over. I thought, you guys can't see the alpha team when I put it here, so I got to do a different screen. Right now it's just on there. But anyway, last time it had earnings, it had a big gap up. You could do pro earnings gaps in other names besides it, in Amazon or Meta, and it wound up yielding us a really good sequence until finally this bearish outside day, and now it's come in a lot. So we'll see. Do we get a gap up like this, or does it open up and sell down? Lately, these small cap, high tech names have not been really good. They haven't been holding, but we'll see. KWeb. So China. No, sorry, I can't do that. That's not very nice. But you had your low, a little bit of a higher low. I've been buying options literally for, I started buying KWeb options somewhere around here. Okay, and I didn't do anything with them, but I went out to March 15th. And then I added here, I added more, trimmed some into that last attempt, and now we'll see. Last time you had two big gap ups that got filled. We'll see if this is a little bit better. KWeb right now is up $1.10 at 24.80, 24-ish. So KWeb's probably going to be, gapping up right into the 21-day. Okay, so we'll see. Last time it gapped up higher. I'd like to see it actually hold. I'd like to see a gap up, hold, a little bit of sideways, and a little bit of traction. So anyway, I do have options here that I remember. I did sell a portion to them. I bought some back, and we'll see if this is better. It goes all the way out to March. I do think, like I've been saying, that China is somewhere where if you're an asset allocator, you could start allocating more funds to China every month. Like that correlates to the Shanghai or the Hang Seng, not the Chinese names, not BABA or this, even though BABA is oversold, but to the indices. So this way, over time, when China gets back in play and it's not as hated, chances are you could create some alpha for yourself. So every now and then, there's different regions that could work for you. Like for 20 years, Japan was horrible. And now for the past multiple years, Japan's been awesome. Last 2 years, India's been great. So for the last 5 years, China's been horrible. Chances are China's going to figure it out soon. And, whether it's 3 to 6 months, you could probably make money there. But anyway, Intel news coming out on the 21st with OpenAI. Okay. What else? What am I going to be doing today? Well, I'm going to be figuring out if NVIDIA that's down 5 could hold in, if this is a real reversal, because it's been so specific. I'm going to figure out if the SPYs can hold this 489.30, which would be constructive. I went out and by the way, I went out and bought puts for not this Friday, for next Friday, just in case February gets a little bit lighter. The AD lines haven't been great. The participation hasn't been great. So, I want to have some kind of downside protection just in case. But meanwhile, that downside protection has been costing me money. Brody says Redler was just an average trader at Schoenfeld back in the day. That's not true. When I traded for Schoenfeld, they had this thing called the Schoen site, and the Schoen site would measure your consistency. I was the top 3 consistent traders in all of Schoenfeld. And we were Sperling Enterprises within Schoenfeld, which was a small fund that they backed. So granted, I didn't make the most money, but I was the most consistent. So I was the most followable. There were guys that, traded a lot bigger size, but I also was younger in the business. I came in 1998, and by the time I was a manager, it was the Nasdaq bubble already burst. The guys that made huge money went there a little bit earlier in like 1995 and rode that big, .com wave. So I learned through there, and I wound up doing a lot better, through the financial crisis and later on. A lot of those people who made a lot more money are out of the business. So it's fine. There are always people who are going to make more money than you, but are they consistent? I'd rather be like a Derek Jeter and hit a lot of singles and have a high on-base percentage and every now and then steal a base or two, but I'm not a home run hitter. I'm not all or none. It's just not my personality. I'd rather just, be consistent over time and be able to balance myself out by maybe leaving a little early and watching my son play basketball, which I did yesterday as a freshman on varsity, things like that. So I'm not jealous of anyone who makes more money than me. Let them just be consistent. Let them be good people. But thanks for pointing that out. Anyway, so with that being said, again, we'll see how it goes today. Tesla has been broken. Some people like, hey, Red Dog used to trade Tesla for a living. I'm like, I did. Look at the difference here. Look when Tesla was fantastic. This was May of last year. This made my second quarter. It was above the 8-day, above the 21-day. And then what happened? It lagged. Elon became a little bit more loopy. He took over Twitter, whatever it was. And bottom line is, this was the day that I got out of Tesla and said, now it's potentially broken. This was the day that it broke the 8-day, and it's been below the 8-day ever since. So when you're above the 8-day, it's a long. When it's below, they're selling strength. Even the last time post earnings was a little bit. So I've been trading it a lot less. Every year or two, there's a stock of the year, or for sequences. And a bunch of years ago it was Tesla. Even last May, now it's really been NVIDIA, SMCI. It's been AMD, as well as Meta and some of the rest. So if you're stuck trading Tesla, like I remember yesterday, some guys are like, oh, I'm buying Tesla for the next 6 months. I'm like, well, why would you buy the weakest stock? And when we just had a 2-month run, and chances are, if we do pull back in February, the weaker stocks get weaker. So anyway, if you go more towards the weekly chart of Tesla, chances are you could probably see this 150, 160 area, and maybe that'll be a better macro buy. Bottom line is, Red Dog reversal sell, Red Dog reversal sell, another one, broke this ascending channel. Seems like this is where it's on its way. So I'm just saying, you probably have time for Tesla. Yes, are there little trades that you could do? There are. There's always little trades you could do. You could have even made a little cute money short, like I did yesterday with AMD, but the bigger trend makes you more money. You always want to go with the bigger trend. It is very heavy every day. Brody made millions. He was in... All right, great. So why don't you go follow him and hang out with him? Is he still trading? There's a lot of great traders out there. Listen, I'd love to talk to the best traders. At Schoenfeld, actually, Jack Jeanette, friggin' awesome trader. He's been doing it for a long time. He's awesome. His major thing was, listen, Red Dog, stocks either suck or they're good. I'm like, well, what are you doing? What do you mean? He's like, well, if I'm in a portfolio of 20 stocks and the futures go down, or the market pulls in and my P&L doesn't pull in, stocks are good, I add, and then they go up. If I have 20 stocks on and the market runs and my P&L goes down, that means my position portfolio is bad, so I better get out and get short. So it's either stocks are good or they're bad. I'm like, well, I got to take a little bit more of a sophisticated approach, but all is well. With that being said, Tesla was low from yesterday. The gauge is 175. 175. If you think that it could hold that and try and go green, maybe that's the case. But bottom line is, it hasn't been the place to be unless you've been shorting every rally. And for me, my style is not shorting every rally. I'd rather stay with, with what's it called, with what's working. Some people like, Red Dog, why are you buying Rumble? Well, I've been buying Rumble since, into this pullback in the low 5s, and it's been working its way higher. This platform, a lot of uncensored individuals are going there, and I think there's a bit more institutional interest. So this is just like a concept play that's been working. And as long as it holds 640-ish, I'm going to stay with it. MSOS has been a concept play. I've been in it since late December for a January effect, and it's been working higher. Hasn't been a barn burner, but from the 7s to over 10, it's been a great trade. Look at the weekly chart. That's kind of working its way towards 14-ish. Hopefully you get some industry news finally. And then so there's things to do. Always things to do. You want to stick with the trend. Yes, it's after 3 huge months like we've had in the market with 80 lines not so great. The street ahead of themselves with 5 cuts, and we probably only have 3. And a very specific tape. As traders, you're allowed to be specific. Go with what's working. Don't fight it, and know what your risk is in your time frame. So someone just asked me, what about Google to me is in the penalty box. I don't think it did do a Red Dog reversal down here by this 139.87 and tried to go in the gap, but to me this needs more time. Microsoft's getting a little trickier. You had a reversal on earnings, and then it closed on the dead lows on what's it called, on Fed Day, and then the next day it pushed up in the first 20 minutes. Every short got squeezed, went higher. Now you had a little bit of an inside day. So this to me is still go to status. It's just a matter of digesting a little bit more to figure out if it could hold here to continue, and that'll tell us kind of what the market's doing. Anyway, so listen, guys. Yeah, a lot of banter out there. Try not to, try not to get caught in the banter. Every now and then you got to speak your mind and you know, go with what you believe. And I know for me, even with politics, people are like Red Dog. I can't friggin' believe it that Trump's going to be running for president and Biden again. What the hell's going on? I'm like, you know what? I'm not a far left guy. I'm not a far right guy. I'm just like a moderate in the middle. Try and use a little common sense, and try and just speak up when I feel like, people need some speaking up. And I do that in trading also. I'm not a home run hitter. I have a long-term approach. I've been doing this since 1998. Hopefully I'm 51. I can do it for, a lot more years. My son's a freshman in high school. I'm in Milburn, so I got a lot of work to do still. I'm going to be here every day. So if you want to, follow someone that's consistent, that might not be the most fun or to be most outspoken, we try and have some happy hours. We try and, have some fun, but I also know that guys, make a living at this. It's a very serious business. If you don't trade well for a few months or a quarter, you might be out of this business and you can't put food on the table. If you don't put money long-term in an S&P fund from a 401k, whatever, for 20, 30 years, you might not have enough for retirement. If you don't, I started at age 5 for Chase for his 529, and I'm a little bit behind. I had to up it from X amount per month to a bigger number during the pandemic, which I did, which was good. So anyway, there's a lot of ways to go at the market where we're not treating it like we're betting the over on the Super Bowl. There's just that you can get lucky here and there, but you're not going to make a business out of it. But not everyone's looking to make a business. Some guys just want to have some fun, and that's cool too. Everyone has their thing. So here's Microsoft. This is what where's Microsoft this morning? Microsoft is down 64 cents, 405. What was this low area? 403.50. This was this is 401, right? We're low here, 401. So we'll see if we build a little bit more inside action. Again, with NVIDIA, it's only down 2 now. Okay, does it need to digest up here? I would think so after 4 up days. AMD, can it hold this 171 and rebuild? Will it take out 184 at some point? Or is it diverging where yesterday NVIDIA and SMCI made a new high and AMD didn't? Does it just need time? Can Apple actually have some traction, hold 185, and go sideways and continue? Can Meta hold the post-earnings gap, or will it fill it and make things very choppy? Can Amazon? These are just questions in my head. Every day I got questions in my head, and I got to figure out what the market's going to do to solve some of those questions. So not bad yesterday. Maybe we could buy a dip versus spot, but if it goes into here, I'm going to have to rethink that. And then I got a good head start. Palantir, I have a good call spread. If those in the what's it called? If those in the alpha team that are here, we did pretty well. Some guys are in some lottos, calls, this and that. What I'll probably do with Palantir is, I'll manage it. It's at 19.59 right now. At 6:58 in the morning, I'll probably take off half of my spread. And since it expires on Friday, I'll see if we could hold the gap and continue so I can max it out. Otherwise, I won't max it out. I'll just take it off, book it, and move on. You're taking KC. I don't know who I'm taking for the Super Bowl. I might just do some just fun bets with Chase. I don't listen. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a gambler, and I hate going to casinos. I used to love going to casinos in my 20s. Used to think I was going to get rich in a casino, and it doesn't happen. The odds are horrible. I do like playing Texas Hold'em. I feel like that's a good correlation to trading, where you have to have discipline, you have to pick your hands, you have to have skill, you have to have patience. But I'm not a guy that, unless I'm really drunk, do I go to the roulette wheel and start betting my birthday. That you can get lucky here and there, but you're not going to make a living betting your birthday at the roulette wheel. It just doesn't happen. But there are guys that make a living playing poker, and there are guys that make a living trading. So anyway, about 6:59. I'm late. So listen, I appreciate you guys. Right now, let's figure out, does the market want to hold in there and then digest for another move, or are we gonna hit a little bit of a rough patch as the AD lines and some sectors aren't participating? And can this narrow rally continue to hold things up? And will China, that has its first potent day, actually hold it and give a little bit better action? All things we got to think about, as well as everything else I just went to. Love this new. I'll pick a team a little closer to the Super Bowl. All right. I will let you know I am a Taylor Swift fan. I'm not a Swiftie, but I do like her. I do think she's been a great role model for kids. She's not cursing and beating up on people and trying to make people look bad to make her look better. She's a good role model for kids. And I do like the Kelsey family also. I love the friggin' brother from Philly. Travis is a little weird, but he's a good guy too. He's friggin' guy's guy. So don't be a player hater. Respect talent, and same way if someone's got a bigger house next door, think about how he got there. Don't be like, oh, he must have got lucky. It's not true. Most people have to work hard to make progress. Now listen, you don't have to be perfect to be happy. Just make a little progress. Progress is the key to happiness. You make a little progress, you feel good about it, and it builds. Have a great day, guys.